Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whether we want to admit it or not, the reality is that we are in a budget crisis. We cut $650 million out of state government 2 years ago. We cut $1.3 billion out of government last year. And we have a $1 billion shortfall this year. But I'm just going to be honest, hypocrisy goes all across this room. Because some of the people railing with the Republican platform are the same ones asking me every day for a supplemental. They're asking me every day for a line item to keep their extension offices open. You don't get it both ways, people. It doesn't work that way. If you don't want those things funded, fine. Don't vote for anything. But if you want them funded, it takes revenue. It's responsible and pragmatic to look at it that way. And on the other side of the aisle, and it's not everybody on both sides, we have people running for office who all of a sudden have decided taxes are a dirty word. I'm sorry, I grew up realizing that Republicans didn't like taxes and Democrats did. And I'm out here fighting. And did I vote to lower taxes? You bet I did. But I'll own it. I'll own it that I made a mistake. We lowered our base too low. So we can talk all day about how we've got a spending problem. Really? We can't even do adoption subsidies anymore. We have therapy caps on mental health. I mean, people, do you not see this? I have a friend who fosters the hard to adopt. She takes in the kids that are 10, 12, 14. These are the kids that grew up sexually abused, physically abused. They had to fight and struggle for every meal. When these kids come into her home, they don't even know how to behave with the family. For years, she has utilized a program of the Department of Human Services and through the Mental Health Agency that allowed her to take them for intensive therapy so that they could fix the problem from the root up. Because what these kids needed to do was have that therapy to learn that it wasn't acceptable what happened to them when they were 2, 3, and 5. And she said, you know, the first 6 months, you can't see any discernible difference. But about 6 months in, you start to see the change. They start doing their homework. They start accepting the love she offers them. And by the end of a year, she keeps taking them, but they turn the corner. She has kids now that have graduated from career tech in college. These kids would have been headed nowhere except to prison or death. Guess what? A year ago, Terry White had to stop doing that program because we cut her. But remember, we're fat, right? We're fat with agency waste. We're not, we're doing way too much for the mentally ill. So we cut that program. Now she has kids that have been there a year, they're acting out, they're in juvenile detention centers, they run away. We're losing our whole next generation. We're 49th in everything in this state. Obesity rates, smoking, educational outcomes. Are you proud of that? All we want to do is tread water. Let's talk about it being a spending problem. Let's listen to our conservative think tanks. Let's go the way of Kansas and Sam Brownback. How's that working for you? Boy, they're doing great. Just read the magazine. Guess what? It's lies. They are falling apart north of us. I don't want to take that path. I want to take the path of Ron Norick, Kirk Humphreys, and Mick Cornett. I want to invest in our state the way they invested in Oklahoma City. I remember when downtown Oklahoma City was a wasteland of prostitutes and empty buildings that were crime-ridden. And everybody said, you start charging that tax, nobody will ever shop there again. Really? Top 10 destination for millennials to live in Oklahoma City. We used to be probably 722nd on the list. What a beautiful thing they've done because they invested. So what am I asking you today? I could pontificate all day about how we got here. I can call you out on both sides of the aisle. Don't come to me again asking for a line item or a supplemental if you're not willing to put your name on that board. So when your regional university closes and you live out in Faxon, Oklahoma, and you can't afford to go to Oklahoma State for your ag degree, and Cameron closes its doors, good deal. they need people flipping burgers in Lawton. That's where we're at, people. And when your grandmother lives in Hollis, and the closest place she can get in an ambulance is the Sayre Hospital, but it closes down because we're not going to have the cigarette tax, she ain't going to make it in the hospital all the way to the city. No worries. One less thing to worry about, Grandma's food bill. I mean, is this what we want? How about classrooms with 35 in a classroom? Now, that's a way to teach. My mother was a teacher. Boy, she would have loved that. Spread the love out a little more there. Or we could try to do more. We could look at our children and think that this could be a place that we want them to live in and thrive in and grow in. We can invest. And investing does not have to be Republican or Democrat. Investing is being an Oklahoman. I wasn't born in this state. I came to Oklahoma State at 17 and I didn't know a person here. My parents dropped me off and I thought, what the heck? Took me about 6 weeks and I never wanted to leave. I raised my family here. I had a successful business here. And I came up here and I've been serving for 9 years and I've never been more disgusted. Every day I get up and I don't want to come to this building. We don't send things to a vote of the people. They sent us here to make the tough decisions. What in the world do we want to pass that up for, man? If you can't make the tough decisions, get your bags and go home. They sent us here to fix the problems. Let's start fixing them.